What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Tonight, Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are all doing well. We're going to hang out for the next 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and I will answer your questions shortly. I'm going to kind of read through the player practice news today and kind of set the table for tonight's video. If you guys do have questions, please get them fired away in the comments there. I'm just reading the notes here from Underdog NFL. Jordan Addison's not listed on the report for Week 12. Good news there. He did have cramping issues on Sunday here. I think he left the game and didn't return. Tyjae Spears' concussion doesn't practice Wednesday, so that's kind of new news to me. I will monitor that one tomorrow and Friday. I usually, if you have a concussion, you're probably missing at least one game. So I would expect maybe Tyjae Spears to be doubtful a little bit this week. Tony Pollard might be the better play. Jake Ferguson doesn't practice Wednesday. Mike McCarthy did say yesterday that it's going to be an uphill battle for Ferguson to play. So Luke Schoonmaker should have been the tight end on the waiver wire. Brandon Cooks limited in practice today. I don't even want to pick up Brandon Cooks. I don't know if there's room for a second receiver there in Dallas the rest of the season. Isaiah Pacheco limited in practice Wednesday. I don't know how great I feel about Pacheco. I think he's going to play in Week 12. I just don't know if he's going to be startable. I think they're still going to use Kareem Hunt. Pacheco is more of like an RB3 for me, somewhere in the RB30 range is I think where I ranked him. George Kittle said he'll play in Week 12. Sam Laporta listed as full practice participant today, so he's on track here. I feel good about that. I'm going to move him up in my rankings. The 49ers don't have much concern over Brock Purdy's status for Week 12. He has a shoulder thing. He was limited in practice today, but it seems like nothing to worry about. Alexander Mattison and Zamir White both don't practice today, so that one is one to keep an eye on. We should probably be looking at Amir Abdullah, maybe the rookie. I can't think of his name right now out of New Hampshire, Dylan Lobby. But Madison and Zamir White both not practicing today. If they miss tomorrow, that means they're pretty much doubtful. Amir Abdullah might be worth babysitting and holding on to for the night until we get those reports tomorrow. Marshawn Lloyd placed on the NFI list. I believe his season is over. The Panthers have high hopes. Jonathan Brooks plays in Week 12. He's going to play. Same with Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was officially limited. He's saying he's going to play. Mike Evans also going to play off the bye week in that hamstring injury. Darius Slayton cleared concussion protocol. He's going to play this weekend. One to keep an eye on here is DeAndre Swift with the groin injury. He didn't practice today. I don't know if this is just more precautionary, day of rest kind of thing. But something to monitor here. Roschon Johnson's not a bad guy to babysit for another night because if Swift misses practice tomorrow, that puts him in doubt for Week 12, and Roschon could be your starting running back. Andy Reid did say this on Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. We'll find a way. Both of them are good players. We'll find a way to get both of them in. If and when that takes place, that's a good problem to have. So I'm going to rank Kareem Hunt higher this week. I want to see what Pacheco looks like before I super trust it. But I think both backs have room for this weekend. And that's pretty much the major primary news. I'm going to get into some of the comments here. Good evening to Harris. Hope you're doing well. Rank these for this week. Westbrook, Debo, and Jerry Jeudy. This one's pretty simple. I'm going to go Debo, Jeudy, and Westbrook, Akine. Akine is not really a guy that I trust. Who is the running back you're willing to pick up and play? So I personally don't think there is a running back that's available on your waiver wire that is like a good play. If we're looking at guys that could be available in your league, I got to go to the next page here. I mean, I'm watching the Raiders very closely because if Zamir White and Madison are both out, I think Amir Abdullah is probably the leading running back. So he's one that's kind of bubbling to the top of my list right now. I do think Jerome Ford has a chance to get some PPR points, 7 to 10 points tomorrow night. But the Raiders situation might offer the best chance to start a player. Otherwise, Cam Akers maybe against Chicago, Roschon against Minnesota. One of those backup running backs in the Vikings-Bears game is probably where I will look. But I think the Raiders are probably your friend. Good evening to Jerry. Full PPR, Kraft or Disley? This week I've been getting a ton of Tucker Kraft questions, And honestly, his outlook has not changed. The only thing that has changed is because he got us a 0 last week in fantasy football. So I'm getting a ton of questions on Tucker Kraft. But if you remove his 0, like that's what you were getting all season. Jordan Love only threw the ball 17 times against Chicago. They're going to throw it more this week. So I'm not afraid to play Tucker Kraft. But the hot hand is Will Dissly right now. And I'm going to rank Will Dissly a little bit higher. But I'm not. I don't know if there needs to be a panic on Tucker Kraft that I've seen this week. So I'm going to say Dissly, but I don't think it's too bad for Kraft yet. Pittman or Christian Watson, full PPR. I'm going Christian Watson here. I just don't know if I see the boom upside for Michael Pittman Jr. It is a tough matchup against Detroit. They could throw the ball a ton, as they're playing from behind. But Christian Watson coming off a really nice game. Pittman just really hasn't clicked with Anthony Richardson at any point of this season. So I'm going to lean Christian Watson by a little bit. 8 targets last week, though, for Anthony Richardson to Michael Pittman Jr., 5 for 46. I'm going to lean Watson, but I think it's close. I'm actually going to see where I have that ranked. Let me see. Yeah, I have Christian Watson a little bit ahead of Pittman, so we'll go Christian Watson. JSC, good evening. Is there a world where Bo Nix actually beats out Jayden Daniels for Offensive Rookie of the Year? We're getting close. He's definitely closed the gap. I don't know. I mean, is there a rookie running back or receiver that could maybe take it? I don't think so. Brock Bowers, I think, should win it. I know it's usually a quarterback award, but Brock Bowers is doing some crazy things. If it's my vote, I'm going to vote Brock Bowers over both quarterbacks right now. Both rookie quarterbacks are playing good, but they're not winning their division. I think if Daniels somehow wins, if they pull off the division, I'll vote for Jayden. But I think Brock Bowers is more impressive right now. Neighbors or McLaurin, non-PPR. That one's going to come down to who catches a touchdown. I think Terry McLaurin's probably more likely to catch a touchdown, but we kind of have a sour taste in our mouth after last week. I also don't really know what to think about Malik Neighbors with his new quarterback, Danny Tommy DeVito. A little bit concerned there. I'm going to lean Terry McLaurin, though. Terry against the Cowboys, I think we'll stick with that. Good evening to Jason. Burrow on bye, AR or May? I'm in a league where I had Josh Allen on bye, and I comfortably picked up Anthony Richardson. So I do like Richardson's opportunity to run for a touchdown and maybe throw for one this week. I'm going to give a slight nod to Drake May, though, just because you look at his numbers the last 6 games that he started, 17, 11, 15, 11, 20, and 19, at least in my scoring format here. He's been throwing for touchdowns. He's gotten a touchdown in every single game. I don't know if I feel that Richardson has proven that he can get us a touchdown every game. So I'm going to lean Drake May here. It's in Miami. Maybe the weather's fun. And I actually think May is playing very, very well. Pickens or Aaron Jones. It's not close. We're going George Pickens here, Jason. Reed or Aaron Jones. That one's a little bit closer. I personally have been frustrated with Aaron Jones of late. He really hasn't been a guy that is like lighting the world on fire. He's got a good matchup on paper against Chicago. He's got 5 points against Tennessee, 12, 12, 11 the last few weeks. His numbers are kind of coming down a little bit as they use Cam Akers more. So I'm going to shoot for the ceiling here, and I think the ceiling's with Jayden Reed against the 49ers. I do want to look back at that Packers-49ers playoff game. The game to go to the NFC Championship in January of earlier this year. I just want to look at the numbers, see what our Packers did. Jordan Love threw for 194, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Jayden Reed went 4 for 35. They kind of stifled here. That was a big Aaron Jones game. I'm definitely going Pickens. I might lean Aaron Jones here over Jayden Reed. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson rest of season, fantasy and MVP take. Well, I don't know if Lamar is the MVP yet for me. I think Josh Allen might have just taken the MVP lead, beating the Chiefs. For me, Lamar's got what they got, 3 or 4 losses on the season right now. I think Josh Allen doing just about the same with less talent around him, minus Stephon Diggs, I think is impressive. So I'm for MVP take, give me Josh Allen. And for rest of season for fantasy, I mean, it's hard to ignore what Lamar's been. Lamar he runs for a lot more than Josh Allen does. Allen is starting to play better though. His numbers are definitely picking up over the last month or so. But I'm going to stick with Lamar rest of season for fantasy. But I'm going to say Josh Allen's the real MVP. Madison or Warren, that one's kind of tough. I don't know if Madison's going to play. I don't know if Zamir White's going to play yet, so I don't really have a good answer on that. If Madison plays and Zamir White plays, then I don't want to mess with the Raiders' backfield. Like if everyone's playing, I don't want to mess with it. So in that case, I'll go with Jaylen Warren. If Zamir White is out, I want to get Madison in my lineup. Yes, you can, JSC. My initial rankings for the week, I got Jauan Jennings at wide receiver 18. He's in the same tier as CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison, Ladd McConkey, Devonta Smith, Debo, Jaden Reed. Like he's in a very, very comfortable tier. I want Jauan in my lineup this week. Leggett or Douglas, this one depends on what you need. If you need something that can get you 20 points, you got to go with Leggett. If you just want to lock in 10 points, I think I'm going to go with Douglas. So Douglas is the safer play. Leggett more of a boom bust option. Jauan Jennings and Puka Nacua versus Marvin and Malik Neighbors in my fantasy. That's a tough one. I'm going to lean with I'm going Jauan Jennings and Puka. You have the best receiver with Puka. I think Jennings though, man. I think Jennings is a good dude. I'm going to go Puka Jennings on that side. Pick one PPR, Benson, Gibson, Schoonmaker. You got to go Schoonmaker here. You can't start a backup running back, Benson or Gibson. Those guys are only going to get you 2 to 3, 4 points. Schoonmaker coming off a game where he just had 10 targets. I think it's pretty easy for me to go Schoonmaker. Would you drop Pearsall for Dobbs? Yes, I would. And don't get me wrong. I do like Pearsall. I want to hold on to him. As we've seen, just injuries happen, whether it's Jennings who was dinged up with the hip, Debo gets dinged up every now and then. There's still an opportunity for Pearsall to step into a bigger workload, but he's the clear number 3 receiver on this team, and technically he's the number 4 behind George Kittle. It's Jennings running pretty much every route, Debo running about 90% of the routes, and Ricky Pearsall running maybe 60% of the routes. So give me Romeo Dobbs, who does run, up almost 100% of the routes for Green Bay. He ran 18 of 20 routes last week. I think every game that he's played, he's led the team in a route. So give me Dobbs over Pearsall. Mr. Magic, good evening. Aaron Jones or Dobbins PPR rest of season? I think it's J.K. Dobbins, man. The Chargers are on an upward trajectory right now. I like what they're doing. And honestly, I think maybe having Gus Edwards back kind of helps J.K. Dobbins just stay a little bit fresher. The schedule coming up for the Chargers is not the best. They get Baltimore. That's tough. Atlanta, I think the Chargers can have their way against Atlanta. Kansas City's a tough one. Tampa Bay, we like targeting Tampa Bay's defense. Denver's a tough one, and then the Patriots. So it's like every other week is a tough matchup for J.K. Dobbins. With the Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Jones, they're going to get Chicago, which you can run against. Arizona, you can run against. Atlanta, you can run against. Chicago, again, you can run against. And then Seattle, Green Bay. Aaron Jones has the better schedule the rest of season. But I just, he's been kind of dinged up. I feel like J.K. Dobbins is the safer bet. I'm going to lean J.K. Dobbins here, but it's really close, Mr. Magic. Jonnu or Dissly? This seems to be one of the most popular questions of the week there, Daniel. I've gotten a lot of Jonnu questions, a lot of Dissly questions, a lot of Tucker Kraft questions this week. If I have to play one of these guys, I'm going to give a slight edge to Will Dissly. And the reason why I like Will Dissly is Chargers-Ravens, man. That game is going to be a really fun Monday Night Football game. And I'm just looking here at the numbers real quick. Will Dissly, he gets a big old green matchup here against the Ravens. The Steelers went 4 for 56, which is 9.6 points with the tight end. The Bengals went 11 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Denver doesn't have tight ends, so they didn't really do anything. But Cleveland's tight ends, you got 18 fantasy points. Tampa Bay's tight end, 18 fantasy points. Washington hit 10.8. Like, the Ravens are one of the best matchups for opponent tight ends, and you have Will Dissly playing on a heater right now, the best football of his career as far as catching the ball, coming off a touchdown, 4 for 80, 6 targets. He's had 6 targets or more in 4 of the last 5 games. He's had 5 targets or more in 5 of the last 6 games. So I'm going to go Will Dissly here. I do like Jonnu Smith against New England. That's a revenge game for him. He was a New England Patriot just a year or two ago, and he's been playing well too. He's had target games of 8, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8. So, like, they're both great options. I'm going to personally lean for the Monday night play, Will Dissly against the Chargers or against the Ravens. Oh my God. Is this Mr. Magic? This shouldn't even be a real question. Gibbs, Mixon, Saquon. Like, we're talking, these are top 5 running backs, man. There's no way. All right. There's no way I can get this question right. We're talking 4 of the top 8 running backs on the season here. I mean, I think you got to play Achane against the New England Patriots, and I think you probably got to leave Saquon in there, Gibson, Mixon, whatever. There's no way for me to answer this correctly. I'm going to go Achane and Saquon. Start 2, Jauan Jennings, Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy. So I think the Giants are going to continue to lean on Tracy. So that's probably the one that I feel the best about. I don't want to start 2 Giants, though. That's where I get a little bit nervous. As much as I like Neighbors, I'd almost rather play Tyrone Tracy and Jauan Jennings and see what Neighbors look like with DeVito. Otherwise, I think you bench Tracy and then you play Neighbors with Jauan Jennings. So just my first initial thought would be Tyrone Tracy with Jauan Jennings. If you want to play the best 2 players, it's probably the 2 Giants. Do we sell JT too? If you can find someone to buy Jonathan Taylor, I think you do so. Just if Anthony Richardson's going to be back in there vulturing touchdowns, that's not going to be great. But keep in mind, like, Jonathan Taylor still got 24 carries in this game the other day. He just didn't have a huge output in terms of yards. So only 57 yards. The catches are going to come down as well, but we're talking, I don't know, 20 touches per game coming forward. Jonathan Taylor does get the Lions this weekend, and then the Patriots. There's a bye in there. And then he gets 2 tough defenses, Denver, Tennessee, and then the Giants. I think if you can find someone to buy Jonathan Taylor right now, you do it. Michael Wilson or Nick Westbrook, Akine. Akine has just been running hot on touchdowns. His volume is just complete nothing. He did get 6 targets last week. The numbers are there. If he doesn't catch a touchdown, though, it's a big, 4, 5, 6 points. I'm not super excited about Akine. I think Michael Wilson is in a more explosive offense, and in a game, Cardinals Seahawks, I think I would rather play Wilson, but I get the intrigue with Westbrook. But I'm going to say Michael Wilson by just a little bit. Nick Chubb or Demario Douglas. I'm not super excited about Nick Chubb tomorrow night. I do think he gets a chance for a touchdown in this game. I think he's got 1 touchdown on the year. Let me see how Nick Chubb's doing. And he's not quite running like his old true self. He does have 1 touchdown back in game 1, but he's not getting any work in the passing game. You're kind of just locking yourself into 50 to 60 yards. There's a chance where he could run hot and get that touchdown. I think you go with Demario Douglas. He's got a higher PPR floor. Honestly, probably just as good of odds as a touchdown with Drake May. I'm going to go Chubb, or I'm going to go Douglas. Javonte or Harris, double PPR. I'm going to go Najee Harris tomorrow night. He's been catching passes. I think Russell Wilson has really boosted both Jalen and Najee Harris these last few weeks. Najee got 4 catches for 30 yards the week before. We've seen games with 3 and 2 catches for Najee as well. I still do not trust Sean Payton and his usage of the Broncos running back. So I'm going to say Najee here is your best chance. Romeo or JMO? I think you got to kind of ride the hot hand right now with Jameson Williams. I know he does have a pretty bad floor when he doesn't get going, but so does Romeo Doubs. We saw the bad floor last week. So I think you ride the Lions offense here, and you're going to go with Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, he's had 2 bad games all year. Otherwise, he gets big points. So I'm going to lean Jameson Williams here. You shoot for the home run. Michael Wilson or Schoonmaker? The answer is probably Schoonmaker. Good evening, Mr. K. Should I trade away George Pickens for James Cook? In a full PPR, we got Jamar, Chase, Ladd, Marvin, Jacobs, and Chase Brown. Ooh. I mean, I might. You're starting Jacobs and Chase Brown. Those guys are stud running backs right now. But if you could afford, so you got Chase, Ladd, Marvin. So I tend to, putting your eggs all in one basket here is a little scary, and just saying these are my 3 receivers, but then you gain the 3rd running back. I kind of like George Pickens rest of season more than James Cook, man. Since Russell Wilson's taken over, we've seen some really awesome games from George Pickens. Even last week, 8 for 89 on 12 targets. The Steelers' schedule coming up, they get Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland again, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Those are matchups where they're going to have to continue to lean on George Pickens. I get it. Our guy, James Cook, he scores touchdowns now. That's the cool thing that he hasn't been able to do through most of his career. So I like James Cook, but man, their schedule rest of the way is San Fran, the Rams, the Lions, the Patriots, and the Jets. This one's really – it's a preference call. I think if you want to go with James Cook, it's fine. Pickens and James Cook are both, stud players at this point. If you feel better starting the 3 running backs, then I'd say go for it. Start 2, Aaron Jones, Jacobs, and Smith. I'm going with Josh Jacobs, and give me Devonta Smith. Do you think a primetime game can benefit a player performance when I have 2 similar options like John Dussay? I lead to play the one who plays in primetime. So that's a great question. It's a vibe question, right, Daniel? I have to feel good about the matchup. I kind of have a rule with like Thursday night primetime games where I don't like to play. If my guy's not a stud, I don't like to have a guy going in Thursday night football. So to me, that's kind of like it's a prime time, but I don't want to whip out Andre Yoshivas on a Thursday night football game. I want to start my studs and I want to look for points elsewhere. On a Monday night, those games tend to be a little bit more exciting. Everybody's watching. There's a little bit more energy behind it. I think Jonnu Smith in a game where the Dolphins against the Patriots, like that game, Devon Achane could run for 3 touchdowns. The Dolphins defense could have a pick 6. Like there's so many ways that the Dolphins can win that game. Whereas I think the Ravens Chargers game, that could be like what we just watched the Chargers and the Bengals was. That could be back and forth, ping ponging a lot of points. So to me, a lot of it is game environment. When I can get a guy on a Monday night football game, I do want to kind of lean into it because it's a little bit more fun to watch my guys play. But I think game environment is one of the more important situations when it comes down to 2 guys for me. So, the Dolphins could have that game. They could be up 20-6 at halftime and not really have to throw the ball much. Whereas the Chargers, if the Chargers are up, there's a good chance Dissly helped you get up. And if they're down, there's a good chance Will Dissly's helping you get ahead. So Will Dissly's my answer. Javonte, Bucky, Tillman, double PPR. We're going to go with Bucky Irving here. If I'm ranking these guys, I'm going to go Bucky, Tillman, Javonte. JT Dobbins, Kamara. Oh, if I have to choose a side here. If this is for this week, Kamara's on bye, so I don't think this is a this week question. If it's for the rest of season, I'm going to go with Kamara and Hubbard. That's tough. I'm going to lean Kamara Hubbard, though, I think. Rank this to running backs for this week. Spears, Gibson, Trey Benson. Well, I don't think Spears has got the concussion thing, man. He looks like he's doubtful at this moment, so I'm assuming no Spears for week 12. We'll see if he can go. If Spears does play, I like him the best. And then honestly, like Benson and Gibson, these guys are handcuffs. Like we shouldn't be starting these guys, Harris. You're looking at 2 points, 3 points from these running backs here. I suppose if I have to play one, give me Trey Benson, who's been playing better and getting more carries. So I guess I'd rank them Benson, Gibson, and then we'll see if Spears can go, but I'm assuming he's not going to play. Westbrook or Watson, I'm going with Watson. And good evening, Brett Jones. Need an emergency RB this week. Abdullah Zamir, Wright, Gainwell in a standard league. All right, so that brings us kind of all the way back around to something we talked about at the beginning of the show, and that's the Raiders running backs. This is how I'm going to play it. I do think that there's a good chance one of these guys does not play. Alexander Mattison hurt the ankle, I believe it was. He didn't practice today. Zamir White has the quad injury. He didn't practice today. So who was the lead running backs at practice today? It was Amir Abdullah, Dylan Lobby. That could be the starting duo in week 12. Now, my money's on one of these guys playing, and I don't know how to play it. I think if Mattison plays, but Zamir White doesn't play, you're going to play Mattison. If Zamir plays and Mattison doesn't, you want to play Zamir White. If both guys don't play, Amir Abdullah is the pickup. So there's no clear answer as of today. I would say this: if all three are available, Mattison, Abdullah, and Zamir White, if all three are available, I want Mattison. I'm going to pick up Mattison tonight. Tomorrow, when I see the practice reports, and if I see Mattison didn't practice, Zamir White practice, I'm going to probably pick up Zamir White and move towards that direction. So it's a huge moving ball of parts right now. I think Mattison would excite me the most to start if Zamir White is out. But if Madison's out, I think Zamir and Abdullah are going to kind of split duties. It's tough. So to answer your question better here, Abdullah, Zamir, Wright, Gainwell, like we can't really start Wright and Gainwell. So I think your best bet is banking on one of these Raiders running backs. If you want to just hold on to somebody for now, I think you could probably just pick up Abdullah because he's the guy that practiced tonight or today, and we'll see if Madison and White practice tomorrow. Yikes. How do you feel about D-Hop moving forward in JD or Kyler rest of season? I don't feel great about DeAndre Hopkins moving forward. I never really felt good about him in general. I do think there's going to be games where he has big games and there's going to be games where he has down games. This is really no different than any Chiefs receiver not named Rashee Rice, for the last 3 years since Tyreek Hill has left. It's a very hard offense to – Rashee is really the only one that's been able to consistently get targets and be the number one receiver. Kelsey plays big. D-Hop plays big. Xavier Worthy plays big sometimes. There's a lot of mouths to feed over there. And now that you're getting Isaiah Pacheco back, I'm a little worried that the Chiefs just decide to run the ball 25 times a game and really just kind of dink and dunk. So I don't know if there's going to be any games where DeAndre Hopkins is getting 10, 12 targets, So rest of season, I think I moved Hopkins to like wide receiver 30. Let me see here. Where is DeAndre? I got him at wide receiver 25. It's against Carolina. I think I like Hopkins this week, but rest of season, he's like a wide receiver 3. He's going to be in a tier with me for like, Jameson Williams, Jacoby Myers, Tank Dell, Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore. He's kind of a borderline start. And then JD or Kyler Murray rest of season, I think I'm moving towards Kyler Murray, man. The Arizona Cardinals, they got it going on, man. They are playing good football on both sides of the ball, which I did not expect. You have Kyler Murray, 3 of his last 4 games. These are his fantasy numbers: 28, 22, 20. And then he had the one bad game, 4.76 points, but they just ran for 3 touchdowns with their other players, and they didn't need Kyler to throw the ball. So Murray and the Cardinals offense is starting to streak towards a better look. I do worry about Jaden Daniels potentially hitting a rookie wall. as teams are starting to figure him out a little bit, and he's running less and less, whereas we see Kyler rushing touchdowns are becoming more frequent for him. So I'm going to lean Kyler over Jayden Daniels. Watson or Rome Odunze. I think you got to go with Rome Odunze here. Odunze seems to have fully hopped Keenan Allen in terms of targets for the pecking order. Rome Odunze's last 4 games after the bye week, you have 10 targets, 6, 7, and 6. I like those floors for targets. And he's also got a couple 100-yard. He's got a 100-yard game in there. 3 catches is kind of his floor. Whereas Watson, we still don't really trust him fully. It's nice to see him have a big game, but I think Romo, and it's funny because I have Rome Odunze ranked 35 and Watson 36 in my weekly rankings. So it's Odunze. I would play Kyler Murray this week over Jayden Daniels. Yes. Kyler's also fresh off a bye. The last couple weeks here, we really haven't seen the juice from Jayden Daniels. I think I like him, but I feel a lot safer with Kyler Murray. It's Jayden Daniels against Dallas, which it should be a really good spot. But I think I'm going to give Kyler Murray the benefit of the doubt. But it's very close, Mr. Magic. We are going on about 32 minutes here for the live show. Tomorrow night I have an event after work, so we're not going to be able to do our Thursday night live show at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to set it for 8 p.m. Central Time, but I'm still not 100% sure I'm going to be able to do the tomorrow night show. So we're going to probably push it back to 8 p.m. start time. If you guys want to hang out, check out and see if we got it going on. But otherwise, I just got a work event. Not sure if I'm going to be able to make it for Thursday night football. So either way, enjoy the Thursday night football game, guys. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and we'll see you in a video soon. Peace. Got me feeling icy.